What is overtraining syndrome? Overtraining syndrome, otherwise known as OTS, is a state of chronic fatigue, reduced performance, and compromised recovery that results when training intensity or volume exceeds the body's ability to recover. It's not just a matter of training too much, but a chronic imbalance between training load and recovery, leading to decreased performance and increased risk of injury or illness. It's especially common among endurance athletes due to the repetitive and high-intensity nature of our sport. In this video, I'm going to help you prevent overtraining syndrome by recognizing the signs, addressing the root causes, and by optimizing your nutrition and supplementation. Hey, I'm Dr. Jason Barker, and one of my clinical specialties over the last 22 years has been working with athletes to improve performance. As an athlete myself, I've always been interested in what makes us all go faster, have better performance, recover quicker, avoid injuries, etc., etc. So this channel is a fun way for me to get some of this info out there to you. Now, there are 4 key causes of overtraining syndrome. They are, number 1, excessive training load, prolonged periods of high training volume or intensity without adequate recovery. Number 2, inadequate recovery. Skipping rest days or recovery weeks prevents the body from repairing itself. Number 3, poor nutrition. A caloric or nutrient deficit fails to support the energy demands of rigorous training. Number 4, chronic stress. Non-training related stressors like work, relationships, and lack of sleep all contribute to systemic overload. All stress, whether physical or mental, is perceived in the same way by your brain, and it all has a cumulative negative effect. Typically, all, if not most of these factors will lead to overtraining syndrome. Rarely is it just one thing that puts someone into this situation. There are physical, mental, and physiological signs and symptoms of overtraining syndrome. These include physical signs and symptoms like persistent fatigue, sluggishness, exhaustion, even after rest. A decline in performance, even during light sessions, or decreased performance or plateauing despite continued training, increased resting heart rate, difficulty sleeping, poor or incomplete recovery, and frequent illness or injuries. Psychological symptoms can include loss of motivation, feelings of burnout, irritability, anxiety, and mood swings. Physiological signs and symptoms include reduced variability in heart rate, which is a sign of stress, hormonal imbalances, which often include chronically elevated cortisol levels and reduced testosterone, among other patterns. If you have some or all of these symptoms, you should take them very seriously to prevent an ever deeper descent into overtraining syndrome. Because it's a syndrome, this means there's a lot of gray area. Overtraining syndrome is insidious and challenging to diagnose clinically because its symptoms, like fatigue, reduced performance, and mood changes, often overlap with other conditions like infections, anemia, or hormonal imbalances, and there's no definitive biomarkers to confirm its presence. That being said, here are a few steps you can take to stop the descent into overtraining syndrome. The first order of business are training and lifestyle adjustments. For training, there are 4 main adjustments you need to make. Number 1 is periodization. Structure your training into cycles of high and low intensity to allow for recovery. Number 2, scheduled rest. Incorporate rest days and recovery weeks. For example, reduce your training volume by about 30 to 50% every 4 to 6 weeks for a week or so. Number 3, listen to your body. If fatigue persists or performance drops, reduce your training load or take a break entirely. Number 4, cross-training. Switch to low-impact activities like swimming or cycling to reduce strain while maintaining some cardiovascular fitness. These are just some basic things you can start to do. It's always ideal to work with a good coach who can set up a smart training program that incorporates all of these concepts. Next up are some important lifestyle adjustments. Number 1, you've got to prioritize your sleep. Aim for 7 to 9 hours per night. Sleep is critical for physical recovery and mental well-being. Number 2, nutrition. Ensure a balanced diet with adequate macronutrients, carbs, proteins, and fats, and micronutrients, vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants to support recovery. Number 3 is stress management. Practice relaxation techniques like mindfulness or meditation to reduce systemic stress. Everyone needs some kind of stress management program. Lastly, here are a few key supplements that can help blunt overtraining syndrome. Number 1 is vitamin D. It supports immune function, muscle recovery, and hormonal balance. Studies show that vitamin D deficiency can impair muscle recovery and increase susceptibility to illness. Supplementation with 3,000 to 5,000 units a day has been shown to reduce inflammation and promote recovery in athletes, especially those training indoors or in low sunlight environments. Number 2 is magnesium. Magnesium is critical for muscle relaxation, energy metabolism, and reducing exercise-induced inflammation. Magnesium supplementation of 300 to 500 milligrams a day has been shown to reduce muscle soreness and fatigue by optimizing mitochondrial function and lowering inflammatory markers like interleukin-6. Magnesium glycinate and citrate are highly bioavailable and less likely to cause GI problems. Number 3 is curcumin. Curcumin is a potent anti-inflammatory and antioxidant compound found in turmeric. Research indicates that curcumin reduces muscle damage and soreness after high-intensity exercise by targeting inflammatory pathways like NF-kappa beta and COX-2. Be sure to use a highly bioavailable form, otherwise it won't do much. I'll put a link to my favorite forms of curcumin in the comments down below. Number 4 are adaptogens like ashwagandha and rhodiola. These help regulate the stress response and reduce cortisol levels, improving recovery and resilience to overtraining. Studies on ashwagandha have shown improvements in max VO2, reduced fatigue, and lower cortisol in athletes. Rhodiola enhances endurance and mental clarity by optimizing energy metabolism. Overtraining syndrome is preventable and reversible with the right strategies. By monitoring your body, structuring your training smartly, and supporting recovery with lifestyle changes and key supplements like vitamin D, magnesium, curcumin, and adaptogens, you can stay healthy and perform at your peak. Let me know in the comments, have you dealt with overtraining syndrome? And if you have, what recovery strategies worked best for you? I'd love to know. And if this video helped, remember to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching and stay healthy.